Have you ever wondered who will truly stand by your side as the years go by? As we journey through life, the questions surrounding aging become more pressing. Will it be our family, our children, or perhaps someone entirely unexpected who offers unwavering support? In this video, we delve deep into the essential truths about aging. You'll discover how relationships evolve in surprising ways, learn strategies to maintain your health and independence, and gain insights into achieving financial stability. We'll also explore the importance of self-sufficiency, setting healthy boundaries, and building a meaningful legacy. But that's not all. By watching until the end, you'll uncover practical tips to navigate life's transitions with strength and grace, hear inspiring stories of resilience, and find out how to prepare yourself both emotionally and practically for the future. Whether you're reflecting on your journey or supporting a loved one, this video offers invaluable wisdom to help you embrace aging with dignity and peace. So, grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and join us as we explore the truths that matter most. Stay tuned to empower yourself with the knowledge and tools to make the most of every stage of life. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Section 1. The truth about aging relationships. As we journey through life, one undeniable truth becomes clear. Relationships, those once thought to be unshakable, begin to shift in ways we never saw coming. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but as we grow older, our emotional landscapes change, and so do the connections we thought would be permanent. I want to tell you a story that's deeply personal and profoundly real. A story about Peter, a man whose love for his children seemed boundless and whose devotion to family was unquestioned. Peter, a kind and gentle soul, spent his entire life putting his children first. He gave up his dreams, his time, and even his health for them, believing that as he grew older, his twilight years would be filled with the warmth of family gatherings, shared laughter, and the comforting presence of his loved ones. But as time went on, reality began to creep in, a harsh reminder that life doesn't always play out the way we hope or expect. Peter's children, though undoubtedly caring, were swept away by their own busy lives, careers, families, and responsibilities that stretched them thin. What once felt like a tight-knit family became a distant memory. The weeks turned into months, and the visits from his children became less frequent. Peter found himself feeling more and more isolated, longing for the companionship and love that he had once taken for granted. And then there was Jane. Jane, the woman Peter had known only through brief, cordial exchanges over the fence. A retired teacher who had, at one time, been nothing more than a neighbor. She was the one who unexpectedly stepped in. She had time to spare and, more importantly, a heart full of empathy. Jane began checking on Peter regularly, bringing him meals, and even accompanying him to his doctor's appointments. She was there when he needed someone the most, even though, at first glance, she was little more than a stranger to him. Peter's heart swelled with a complex mix of gratitude and confusion. How had this happened? How had a woman he barely knew become the steady support he so desperately needed? He had always assumed, with all his heart, that his children, his flesh and blood, would be the ones to provide him comfort and care as he entered the later stages of life. And yet, it was Jane, his near stranger, who was the one to show up. It was a shift Peter hadn't expected, and it shook him to his core. This wasn't just a story about neglect or abandonment. It was a story about the harsh reality that life often pulls people in different directions. And in these shifting sands, we learn that love isn't always expressed in the ways we anticipate. Peter's story is not an isolated case. It's one many of us will face, perhaps already are facing. It's a painful truth. Life doesn't stop for anyone. Our children grow up and start families of their own, and before we know it, they're no longer the little ones we once held in our arms. The expectations we have about who will be there for us when we're vulnerable can sometimes leave us feeling betrayed or overlooked. But it's crucial to understand that this shift isn't due to a lack of love or care, it's just the inevitable march of life. Everyone, no matter who they are, has their battles to fight, and their struggles to overcome. And sometimes, those battles keep them from being able to show up in the way we want or expect. This is the painful truth of aging relationships. The people who stand by us in our most vulnerable moments may not always be the ones we envision. It might not be your children, but a neighbor, a longtime friend, or even a community member who steps up when you need it the most. And while this realization can be difficult to digest, it also comes with an unexpected gift: the opportunity to reassess our relationships. It's time to nurture and treasure the connections that bring us comfort, even if they don't fit into the traditional mold we once imagined. I'm going to be honest with you. There is immense value in building a network of trusted individuals outside of your immediate family. It's not about replacing the people you love, but about finding a balance, especially as you enter the later years of life. Don't just wait for your children to meet your expectations. Instead, open your heart to the possibility of forming new bonds, ones that might surprise you in their depth and significance. It's also important to remember that, despite the pain of unmet expectations, we must not hold on to resentment. After all, everyone is facing their challenges, their pressures, and their struggles. Now, I want to pause and invite you to reflect. Who are the people in your life who would stand by you no matter what? Who would show up for you, no questions asked, even if it's inconvenient for them? And just as importantly, are you someone who offers that kind of unwavering support to others? Relationships are, after all, a two-way street. We cannot expect to receive what we're not willing to give. In this stage of life, as we embrace the inevitable changes that come with aging, we must learn to let go of rigid expectations. We must open our hearts to the unexpected and find gratitude for those who choose to walk beside us, even if they weren't the people we imagined. It's easy to get caught up in the disappointment of what we thought our relationship should look like, but the truth is that life often has other plans. And in these new, unanticipated connections, there is profound beauty, a beauty that teaches us that love and support don't always come from where we expect, but from where we need it most. Section 2. Health is the greatest asset. As we age, life has a way of stripping away the distractions and illusions, leaving us with a clear view of what truly matters. And if there's one undeniable truth that becomes crystal clear, it's this: good health is our greatest asset. Without it, everything else, our achievements, our relationships, our dreams, loses its meaning. I've seen it firsthand in the lives of people I know, and it's a stark reminder that we should cherish our health while we still can. Take Margaret, for instance. Margaret was once a vibrant, free-spirited woman, full of energy and spontaneity. In her younger years, she lived life to the fullest. Late nights, indulgent meals, skipping doctor appointments because she believed she was invincible. This was her reality. The idea of slowing down never crossed her mind. She was always too busy savoring the moment. But as the years passed, the consequences of those carefree choices began to catch up with her. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Now in her 70s, Margaret's body was a constant battleground. Fatigue was her unwelcome companion. Multiple medications became part of her daily routine, and hospital visits became too frequent. The carefree woman who once embraced life with such vigor now found herself struggling to keep up with the basic demands of daily living. The isolation she felt during her hospital stays weighed heavily on her heart, and she often spoke of how much she longed to go back in time and care for her health better. On the other hand, there's David, whose approach to aging has been vastly different. David has never been the type to run marathons or push himself to the extreme, but he understood the quiet power of consistency. From an early age, he made small, manageable choices that contributed to his well-being: daily walks, balanced meals, and annual health checkups. Now in his 80s, David still thrives. He tends to his garden with a level of energy that would put many half his age to shame. He reads for hours, no glasses required, and shares heartfelt conversations with his grandchildren without missing a beat. He isn't just surviving, he's living with vitality and joy. The difference between David and Margaret isn't about luck or fate, it's about the choices they made early on. David invested in his health, knowing that even the smallest actions today could pave the way for a healthier, more fulfilling tomorrow. Health isn't just about avoiding illness, it's about preserving your freedom and independence as you age. Without it, the simple tasks of life, like walking to the mailbox or climbing a flight of stairs, become daunting obstacles. I've seen so many older adults, once so independent and strong, lose the ability to do the things they once took for granted. It's heartbreaking to watch, but it also serves as a powerful reminder. Our health is the foundation of everything. Without it, we risk losing our autonomy, and with it, our sense of self. That's why it's so crucial to establish habits today that will support your well-being tomorrow. Small, simple steps can make a world of difference. Stay active. It doesn't have to be intense exercise. Even light stretching, walking, or yoga can keep your body agile and your mind sharp. Movement is a gift you give yourself. Eat mindfully. Nourish your body with whole, healthy foods, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins. Avoid the temptation of sugary snacks and processed foods that can wreak havoc on your energy and mood. Check in with your doctor. Regular checkups aren't just for finding health problems, they're for preventing them. Don't wait for something to go wrong. Take action before it does. Nurture mental health. Our emotional well-being plays an equally important role in aging well. Stay connected with loved ones, seek out joy in hobbies, and take moments to meditate or simply breathe deeply. Stress and loneliness can drain the life out of you. But health isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional, too. Take Alice, for example. Alice was diagnosed with arthritis in her 60s, a diagnosis that initially overwhelmed her. She felt like her body was betraying her. But instead of succumbing to despair, she chose to fight back with fierce optimism. She joined a support group, started swimming, and shifted her mindset. That simple act of deciding not to let her condition define her transformed her life. Today, Alice says that despite the arthritis, her life is richer, brighter, and more fulfilling than ever. Her attitude was the true game changer. It's a reminder that how we respond to health challenges is just as important as the challenges themselves. Here's the truth. While we can't control everything about our health, genetics, accidents, and the unpredictability of life, what we can control is how we respond to it. Every small choice we make today, whether it's a healthy meal, a short walk, or simply taking a deep breath, moves us closer to freedom, independence, and a life filled with peace of mind. I urge you to reflect on this. What are you doing today to take care of your future self? Can you add just one small habit to your routine that will help support your long-term well-being? It's easy to take our health for granted, especially when we're young and strong. But as we get older, we begin to realize that health is the foundation for everything else in life. Without it, nothing else really matters. It's the one thing that allows us to enjoy our families, our hobbies, the beauty of life itself. And yet, it's often the one thing we neglect the most. Treat your health as the priceless treasure it truly is, because, in the end, without it, everything else fades into the background. Your health is everything, and it's never too late to start taking better care of it. Section 3. Financial Independence and its Impact. Aging gracefully is not just about maintaining good health, though that's incredibly important. It's also deeply intertwined with having a sense of financial stability. The tranquility that comes from knowing you can meet your needs, without relying too much on others, is invaluable. It's more than just a number in your bank account. It's about preserving your peace of mind, your dignity, and your independence. I want to share with you the stories of George and Anna, two individuals who, while they both worked hard throughout their lives, faced drastically different financial realities in their later years. George, a retired teacher, lived a modest life. He wasn't wealthy by any means, but he understood the importance of discipline and foresight. Throughout his career, he was diligent about saving a portion of his income, no matter how small. His retirement fund was modest, but it was enough. He was careful not to accumulate debt and always lived within his means, never falling into the trap of buying things he didn't need or couldn't afford. By the time George reached his 70s, he was able to do things many people in his age group only dream of. He could afford a leisurely vacation every few years, help his grandchildren with their schooling without hesitation, and cover unexpected medical expenses without feeling like his world was crashing down. The best part? George didn't have to ask anyone for help. The feeling of control over his finances gave him something priceless: peace of mind. Then, there's Anna. Her story is a tough one, and it resonates with so many. Anna had worked her whole life, always doing her best to provide for her family, but she never truly focused on saving for retirement. Like many of us, she got caught up in the daily grind, in the demands of life and family. The future seemed so far off, and the pressing need to make ends meet today often overshadowed thoughts of tomorrow. But when Anna reached her late 60s, the unexpected happened. A series of medical expenses drained her finances, leaving her with little to fall back on. In the end, Anna had to turn to her children for support. While her children loved her deeply, the strain on their relationship was palpable. Her dependence on them made her feel guilty, like she was a burden. She didn't want to feel that way, but the financial reality was undeniable. That tension, that sense of guilt, was something I've seen in many families over the years. It's heartbreaking because it creates a divide, a rift that should never be there, especially not in the golden years of life. These stories teach us something powerful. Financial independence is about more than just having money. It's about preserving your dignity and your sense of self-worth. When you're financially independent, you're not at the mercy of anyone else's generosity, nor do you have to navigate the emotional minefield of feeling like you owe something in return. The ability to live life on your terms, without the constant fear of becoming a burden to your loved ones, that's real freedom. It's a sense of control that so many people, myself included, cherish. And while it's easy to say, "I wish I had saved more," the truth is, it's never too late to start taking steps toward financial independence, no matter your age. So, what can you do if you're just starting out, or if you find yourself later in life wondering how to make up for lost time? Let me offer a few practical suggestions that have helped countless people, including myself, take control of their financial future. Start budgeting now. No matter how much or how little you make, tracking your expenses is the first step toward financial freedom. When you can see where your money goes, you can find ways to save, even in small amounts. Build an emergency fund. Life is unpredictable. You never know when a sudden medical emergency or car repair might come up. Having even a small emergency fund can make all the difference, sparing you from the stress of financial uncertainty. Invest wisely. It's never too late to invest in low-risk options like retirement funds or dividend-paying stocks. It's about securing a steady income stream for the future, even if that future is just a few years down the road. Simplify your lifestyle. Let go of the things you don't need. Often, the pressure to keep up with others or live a more lavish lifestyle can drain both your wallet and your peace of mind. Focus on what truly brings you joy and value. But here's something that many people don't consider. Money doesn't just impact your life, it impacts your relationships too. I've seen it firsthand. There was a man named Thomas, for instance, whose story still stuck with me. After retiring, Thomas received a small inheritance from a distant relative. Suddenly, family members he hadn't heard from in years began reaching out. It was subtle at first, one cousin asking for a loan, another hinting that they could use a little help, but it quickly turned into a torrent of demands. Thomas was shocked. He'd always assumed his family was supportive, but now he was confronted with a new reality. His wealth, however small, was creating a pressure to share, and not always in ways that felt right. It was an eye-opening moment for him. He learned that while money can ease some of life's burdens, it can also create emotional complications and leave you feeling manipulated if not handled with care. On the flip side, I've heard heart-wrenching stories from families where financial struggles led to a sense of emotional abandonment. Parents, who once supported their children, suddenly found themselves in a position where they could no longer contribute. The emotional fallout was palpable. Children who had once been close to their parents became distant, either due to their financial strain or simply because they didn't know how to navigate the situation. It's heartbreaking, but it's a reality many people face. It reminds us that financial independence isn't just about securing our future. It's about protecting our relationships and avoiding emotional burdens on those we love. So, let's take a moment to reflect on this. Money is a tool. It's not a cure for loneliness or a ticket to happiness, but it can give you the freedom to live life the way you want to, without fear, without guilt, and without depending on anyone else for your basic needs. Financial independence can give you the freedom to focus on what truly matters: your health, your well-being, and your relationships. Ask yourself today, are you doing what you can to secure your financial future? What small step could you take right now to bring yourself one step closer to the freedom of financial independence? Because, at the end of the day, financial security isn't just about numbers. It's about crafting a life where you can focus on the things that matter: your peace of mind, your emotional health, and the people who bring joy into your life. With a clear plan, a little discipline, and the courage to make thoughtful choices, you can create a future where you're not only financially independent but truly free. Section 4. The value of self-sufficiency in our later years. As we journey through life, one of the most empowering and transformative truths we can embrace is that self-sufficiency, true independence, forms the bedrock of not only our freedom but also our peace of mind. The path to becoming self-sufficient is often filled with both challenges and triumphs, but it's in overcoming these challenges that we find our deepest strength. I'd like to share the story of Emily, a woman who rediscovered her inner strength and resilience in the most heartbreaking of circumstances. Her story resonates deeply with me, and I believe it will resonate with you, too. Emily, a widow, had been married to her beloved husband, Jack, for 40 years. Their life together was one of routine, comfort, and companionship. Jack had always been the one to manage their finances, fix things around the house, and even take care of the grocery shopping. He was, in every sense, the pillar of their home. When Jack unexpectedly passed away, Emily felt as though her world had come crashing down. The grief was overwhelming, but what made it even harder was the sense of helplessness that accompanied it. For months, Emily found herself lost in a haze of uncertainty. She leaned heavily on her children, calling them day and night to help with even the smallest of tasks. It felt like the rug had been pulled out from under her, and she couldn't shake the feeling that she was completely dependent on others. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But as time went on, Emily's realization began to take shape. Relying too much on her children, while it came from a place of love and care, left her feeling vulnerable and helpless. She began to see that in her dependence, she was losing something more precious than just her autonomy. She was losing her sense of self. Emily's turning point came when she decided, with quiet determination, to regain control of her life. Instead of wallowing in despair, she embraced the challenge ahead. She enrolled in a financial literacy course at her local community center, and through it, she learned how to manage her finances, something that, for years, had always been Jack's responsibility. Emily also discovered a surprising joy in gardening. What started as a simple way to fill her time grew into a passion that not only brought her joy but also provided her with fresh, healthy food. Gardening became both her refuge and her source of empowerment. Now in her 70s, Emily often reflects on how far she has come. She says she feels more capable and fulfilled than she ever imagined possible. It's not that she no longer needs anyone. Self-sufficiency doesn't mean isolating yourself from others. Rather, it's about having the confidence to handle life's challenges, big and small, on your own when needed. It's about turning solitude into an opportunity for growth, for strengthening your resilience, and for reclaiming your dignity. Emily's story is a testament to the power of choosing self-sufficiency in the face of loss. It's about finding your footing again, no matter how shaky that footing may feel at first. I believe that the journey to self-sufficiency, especially as we grow older, is a deeply personal one. It's not about proving anything to the world. It's about reminding yourself of your strength, of your ability to thrive in the face of adversity. It's about creating a life where you feel empowered, no matter what stage of life you're in. Here are a few practical ways to start cultivating self-sufficiency in your own life. Learn new skills. It's never too late to pick up new skills, whether it's cooking, budgeting, or even basic home maintenance. The feeling of mastering something new can reignite your sense of purpose and accomplishment. Develop hobbies. Hobbies like painting, writing, or gardening not only provide you with an outlet for creativity but also offer a sense of purpose. They become a reminder that life is still full of growth opportunities, even in our later years. Prioritize your health. The better you take care of your body, the more independent you'll be. Whether it's through exercise, healthy eating, or just getting enough sleep, maintaining your physical health is one of the most important ways to stay self-sufficient. Stay connected to your community. While independence is vital, it's also essential to cultivate a network of supportive friends and neighbors. True self-sufficiency is not about isolation. It's about knowing when to ask for help while also being there for others when they need it. I remember another powerful story, this one about Henry. Henry, a retired factory worker in his 80s, was known in his neighborhood for his knack for repairs. He could fix anything, from leaky faucets to broken appliances. But as Henry's mobility began to decline, he feared losing the sense of purpose that came with his ability to fix things. The idea of relying on others, of needing help, was deeply unsettling to him. But instead of succumbing to his fear, Henry adapted. He started mentoring younger neighbors, teaching them the repair skills he had honed over a lifetime. In return, they helped him with tasks he could no longer manage. Henry's ability to shift from doing everything on his own to becoming a teacher and mentor not only preserved his sense of independence but also strengthened the community around him. It was a beautiful example of how self-sufficiency doesn't just empower you, it can empower others, too. Self-sufficiency, then, is not just about doing things on your own. It's about nurturing a deep, unshakable sense of self-worth. When you take charge of your life, when you make decisions and take action, no matter how small, you reaffirm to yourself that you are capable. It's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about knowing, deep in your soul, that you are strong enough to handle what life throws at you. As you reflect on your own life, I invite you to ask yourself, what can I do today to become more self-sufficient? Is there a skill you've always wanted to learn? A project you've been putting off? Sometimes the smallest steps toward independence, learning to cook a new meal or fixing a broken item in your home, can lead to the most profound sense of accomplishment. The most important relationship you have in life is the one with yourself. When you choose to nurture it, you are laying the foundation for a life filled with dignity, strength, and quiet confidence. So, I urge you to take that first step toward greater self-sufficiency. No matter where you are in life, no matter your age, it's never too late to reclaim your power and start living with the independence you deserve. Section 5. Privacy and Boundaries. As we journey through life, especially as we grow older, the profound importance of protecting our privacy becomes more and more apparent. There is an undeniable shift in perspective that occurs with age. We begin to realize that sharing too much about our personal lives, whether it's about our health, our finances, or even our opinions, can create a ripple effect of complications, misunderstandings, and emotional burdens. What may seem like innocent, casual conversations with others can ultimately lead to feelings of vulnerability, resentment, or even exploitation. Trust me when I say this, the more you open up about certain aspects of your life, the more you risk inviting unnecessary drama. And it's in those moments that we learn the invaluable lesson that not everything needs to be shared. Some things, some truths, are simply better kept private. Take the story of Henry, for example. Henry was a man with good intentions, someone who had worked hard throughout his life, and upon retiring, was eager to share his achievements with those closest to him. Proud of the financial security he had built over the years, Henry would casually mention his retirement savings and investments during family gatherings. It wasn't a brag, it was just his way of sharing his journey and encouraging others to think about their future. But as time passed, he began to notice a subtle change in how his family members interacted with him. Relatives, who once respected him, began to ask for loans, others subtly hinted at their financial struggles, and a few even questioned his spending decisions. What started as a harmless conversation soon became a source of immense stress and tension. Henry felt the weight of his generosity, but also the pressure of unspoken expectations from those around him. That's when he realized the painful truth. While openness can foster connection, it can also sow seeds of resentment and strain. It wasn't about hiding his achievements or being secretive. It was about protecting his peace of mind. By choosing to keep certain financial details to himself, Henry was able to rebuild relationships that weren't tainted by envy, jealousy, or the uncomfortable pressure of others' financial needs. The concept of privacy, especially when it comes to personal health, finances, and deeply held beliefs, is so much more than just keeping secrets. It's about preserving your dignity. Consider health, for instance. As we age, we all face our health challenges. Some are small and manageable, while others can be more significant, but sharing every little detail about our medical conditions with others can invite unwanted advice, pity, or worse, judgment. I remember a woman named Margaret who once said something that has stuck with me. When people see me, I don't want them to see my ailments. I want them to see me. Isn't that a beautiful way of expressing what we all desire? To be seen as more than just our physical struggles, but as the whole person we are, with our strengths, passions, and wisdom. It's a powerful reminder that we all have the right to protect our own stories and to share only what feels comfortable for us. The same principle applies when it comes to sharing opinions, especially on sensitive topics like politics or religion. I think we can all agree that nothing can sour a family gathering quicker than a heated political debate or a passionate disagreement about a deeply divisive issue. Take Susan, a retired school principal, for example. At a family gathering, Susan felt compelled to share her thoughts on a political issue that was making headlines at the time. What followed was an argument so intense that it left her feeling alienated and emotionally exhausted. Susan, with her wisdom and years of experience, realized the hard way that sometimes silence is the best form of self-preservation. Holding back doesn't mean you're hiding your true self. It simply means you're choosing to prioritize peace over division, harmony over conflict. She learned that protecting herself emotionally sometimes requires letting go of the need to voice every opinion, especially when the cost of doing so is too high. Now, it's time to reflect on how we can set healthy boundaries for ourselves and protect our privacy. I want to share a few tips that I believe can make a world of difference in how we navigate relationships and maintain our emotional well-being. 1. Be selective about what you share. Not every detail of your life needs to be laid bare for others to scrutinize. Learn to be mindful of what you choose to disclose and, more importantly, to whom you share it. Trust is earned, not freely given. 2. Learn to deflect. Sometimes, people will ask intrusive questions, whether out of genuine curiosity or with ulterior motives. It's okay to respond politely but firmly with phrases like, "I'd prefer to keep that private," or "That's not something I feel comfortable discussing." Boundaries are a form of self-respect. 3. Focus on shared values. Build relationships around mutual interests and positive shared experiences rather than the toxic pit of divisive topics. It's those common threads, whether it's love of family, a shared hobby, or mutual respect, that truly bind us together. 4. Preserve your dignity. Privacy is not about secrecy. It's about maintaining autonomy and keeping control over your narrative. When you choose what to share, you maintain the power to shape your own story and protect your mental and emotional space. By keeping certain aspects of your life private, you can ensure that your dignity remains intact. For instance, think about your financial situation. Whether you're comfortable financially or facing a few struggles, oversharing can lead to feelings of jealousy, resentment, or unwanted pity. The last thing you need is unsolicited advice or, worse, a sense that you're being judged or taken advantage of. The truth is, when we overshare, we open ourselves up to emotional vulnerability that we may not always be prepared to handle. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. So, I ask you, are there areas of your life where more privacy could bring you peace? Where could you start setting healthier boundaries with those around you to ensure that your emotional well-being remains intact? The answers will be as unique as your life experiences, but the common thread is this. Taking control of your narrative and protecting your privacy is a powerful act of self-care, especially as we age. In a world that often celebrates total transparency and openness, we can sometimes forget the quiet power of discretion. The simple truth is that the more you guard your privacy, the more you protect your peace of mind, your sense of self, and your dignity. As we enter the later stages of life, it's crucial to remember that privacy isn't just a luxury. It's an essential part of living authentically, and it's a right we should fiercely protect. Section 6. Legacy and Generosity. As the years go by and we inch closer to the later stages of life, our thoughts inevitably turn to the kind of legacy we will leave behind. It's natural to wonder what we will be remembered for. Will it be the material things we've accumulated, or something far more enduring? True legacy, I believe, isn't measured by the possessions we leave in our wake, but by the lives we've touched, the kindness we've shared, and the emotional footprints we leave on the hearts of others. This deeper, more profound form of legacy isn't about the things we can see. It's about the feelings we evoke and the impact we have, both seen and unseen. True generosity, in this sense, often arrives quietly and unassumingly, like a gentle breeze that shifts the landscape without ever making a sound. Let me tell you about Clara, a woman whose name may not ring bells in grand halls, but whose generosity shaped the very core of her community. Clara wasn't a woman who sought attention or praise. She believed deeply in the power of giving, but not for recognition. For years, she anonymously donated to her local community center, providing essential funding for programs that supported both children and seniors. Her donations helped create opportunities for the most vulnerable, but she never once sought to be acknowledged. One day, during a community event, the center's director, having discovered her identity, publicly thanked Clara for her years of giving. Clara, with a quiet grace, simply nodded and smiled. Later, in private, she confided in her close friend, saying, "I didn't do it for recognition. I did it because it was the right thing to do." How many of us, I wonder, would be content with such a humble approach to generosity? It's a beautiful reminder that true acts of kindness are often those that don't seek to be seen. They don't require applause or adulation. When we give with a pure heart, our generosity becomes part of our legacy, quietly reverberating in ways that words and accolades could never capture. Clara's story speaks to something so profound. Generosity is never about the acknowledgement we receive. It's about the impact we make, whether anyone ever knows or not. You see, the beauty of giving without fanfare is that we shift the focus from ourselves to the cause or the people we are helping. In doing so, we preserve the dignity of those we are serving. Not everyone, after all, is comfortable with being seen as a recipient of charity. The act of giving in silence allows those who are helped to maintain their pride and sense of self-worth. It's an act of quiet respect, acknowledging that their dignity is more important than our need for recognition. Legacy, then, isn't just about the tangible things we leave behind. It's also about the feelings we invoke in others while we're still here. It's about how we make others feel. A kind word, a shared moment, a helping hand extended in a time of need. These moments often echo long after the fact, and the ripples they create spread far beyond what we might imagine. Yet, there is a tendency for many people to equate legacy with wealth, largely because our society often places so much emphasis on material success. But let me share with you another story, one that I hold dear, about a man named Walter. Walter didn't have any children. He wasn't wealthy. He lived a modest life, with little more than basic comforts. But Walter possessed something far more valuable than wealth. He had a heart full of compassion and a desire to give. After retiring, he spent his days volunteering at a local library, teaching adults how to read. To him, it wasn't about the hours he put in or the attention he could garner. It was about changing lives. One word, one sentence, one page at a time. When Walter passed away, the people whose lives he touched gathered to honor him. One woman shared an unforgettable testimony. "He gave me the greatest gift, confidence. Because of Walter, I can now read to my grandson every night." Walter's legacy was not measured in bank accounts or possessions, but in the priceless gift of literacy, and the confidence it gave that woman to connect with her family in ways she never could before. Walter may not have had material wealth to leave behind, but the gifts he gave were immeasurable. His legacy was woven through the lives of the people he helped, and those lives were richer for it. So, how can we, too, begin to shape our legacy? How can we approach generosity in ways that go beyond the superficial? Here are some thoughts to ponder. 1. Focus on impact. When you give, whether it's your money, your time, or your skills, think about how your actions can create lasting, positive change. It's not about the immediate satisfaction of giving, but the ripple effect your generosity can create in the long run. 2. Be mindful of privacy. Giving anonymously is a powerful way to ensure that the focus stays on the cause, not on the giver. By choosing not to publicize our actions, we honor both the recipient's dignity and the true spirit of charity. 3. Cultivate kindness in everyday life. Your legacy isn't just made up of grand gestures. It's shaped by how you treat others daily. A smile, a kind word, a small act of service. These things build up and have a profound effect on the lives of others. 4. Share your wisdom. The life lessons you've learned are treasures. Passing them on to the younger generation is one of the greatest gifts you can give. The wisdom you impart can last far longer than any material possession. Now, take a moment to reflect. What kind of legacy do you want to leave? Is it a legacy of kindness, of generosity, or perhaps the wisdom you've gained over the years? It's easy to think of legacy in terms of wealth, but in reality, it is much more than that. Your legacy is measured by the love you've given, the lives you've touched, and the warmth you've shared. A truly meaningful legacy speaks for itself, louder than any recognition or trophy ever could. Embrace the quiet power of generosity. In doing so, you will leave behind something that cannot be measured in dollars or deeds, something that will resonate in the hearts of others long after you're gone. Section 7. Reflections on Aging. As we journey into the later years of life, something profound begins to shift within us. The hustle and bustle of youth, the pressures to succeed, to acquire wealth, and to build a career, those things we once thought were so critical, start to lose their hold on us. The pursuit of material things, the desire for recognition, and the constant push for more seem less urgent with each passing year. And as those priorities fade into the background, we are left with something far more meaningful. What comes to the forefront instead is the simple beauty of life itself, the quiet wisdom we've accumulated, and the moments, those fleeting, precious moments, that truly matter. I think back to a conversation I had with Agnes, a retired nurse who lived a simple life in a small house on the outskirts of a quiet countryside village. One evening, as we sat together on her porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon, she turned to me with a soft smile and said, "When you're young, you chase after so much, success, approval, material things. But as you grow older, you realize it's the little things that bring the deepest happiness. The laughter of a friend, the scent of fresh rain, the warmth of a cup of tea on a chilly day. Those words from Agnes have stayed with me, nestled deep in my heart. They remind me that aging isn't something to fear or regret. It's not a loss of time or purpose, but rather a gift, an opportunity to refocus on what truly matters. As we grow older, we have the chance to let go of our past grievances, embrace gratitude with open arms, and find peace in the present moment. I often think about how, as we age, we shed the need to prove ourselves and to be constantly striving. Instead, we find comfort in just being, in accepting the beauty of the now. But this shift doesn't always come easily. It's not something that just happens overnight. It requires reflection, a willingness to be vulnerable, and sometimes a deep inner strength to let go of old patterns and embrace change. So, how do we approach aging with grace and mindfulness? How do we cultivate peace in our later years, amidst the inevitable challenges and changes? Let go of the past. This is perhaps the hardest one. Releasing old hurts, regrets, and grudges is not simple. But holding on to them only weighs us down, like carrying a heavy burden that saps our energy and joy. It's crucial to recognize that the past is gone, and all we can control is how we choose to live today. Letting go is freeing. It's not about forgetting, but about choosing to move forward with a lighter heart. Focus on gratitude. It's easy to get caught up in what we don't have and to focus on what's missing, especially when life doesn't go as we expect. But there's so much to be thankful for if we just take a moment to look around. A warm cup of tea in the morning, the sound of birds singing outside your window, a phone call from a dear friend who checks in on you. These moments, simple as they may seem, are the essence of a happy life. And as we age, it's these moments that fill us with a quiet, unshakable joy. Prioritize experiences over possessions. There was a time when I, too, thought that accumulating things was the key to happiness. But as I've grown older, I've come to realize that experiences, those moments of connection, those memories made with loved ones, are far more precious than any object. The joy of spending a day with a friend, the laughter shared over a good meal, the beauty of a sunset you pause to take in. These are the treasures that become even more meaningful as we age. Accept change. The physical changes that come with aging can be difficult to accept. Wrinkles, gray hair, aches, and pains. These are the markers of time. But they're also reminders that we've lived. Every line on our face, every gray strand of hair tells the story of a life well lived. Aging is not something to be feared, but rather something to be embraced as part of life's natural rhythm. Our bodies change, yes, but that doesn't mean we lose ourselves. It means we evolve into the next beautiful stage of life. Aging also brings the gift of wisdom, a gift we may not have fully appreciated in our younger years. Think of the lessons you've learned through both triumph and failure, the wisdom you've gained from experience, and the resilience you've built through hardship. These lessons are invaluable, not only for us but for those who come after us. There's a certain grace in passing on our knowledge, whether through stories, advice, or simple acts of kindness. Take Leo, for example, a man in his late 80s who became the storyteller of his family. Every Sunday, his grandchildren would gather around him as he shared tales from his youth, stories of love, hard work, and perseverance. His stories were more than just words. They were his legacy, a bridge between generations. Through them, he passed on not only his wisdom but his heart, ensuring that his spirit would live on in those who came after him. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. And then, perhaps the most important reflection of all, finding peace in the present moment. All too often, we are consumed by the future. What comes next, what we have to do tomorrow, next week, next year, or we get stuck in the past, replaying old mistakes and missed opportunities. But the truth is, life unfolds in the here and now. This very moment is all we truly have. I once had an elder say to me, "Today is the only day we truly have. Make it count." Those words have never left me. What brings you joy right now? What are you grateful for in this very instant? Take a deep breath and let that question sink in. Because, as we age, it's this mindfulness, this ability to savor the present, that brings the greatest peace. Aging is not the closing of a door, not the end of something beautiful. It's the opening of a new chapter, rich with possibilities. It's a chance to reconnect with what matters: love, laughter, friendship, and the sheer beauty of simply being. So let us embrace this time in our lives with an open heart, knowing that the best years may be ahead of us, not behind us. As we draw this conversation to a close, let's pause and reflect on everything we've discussed. Aging is undeniably a journey filled with challenges, but it is also a journey full of opportunities for growth, connection, and understanding. As we move forward into this stage of life, let us hold on to these truths that can guide us with strength and grace. Health is our greatest asset. Without it, all else fades into insignificance. Self-sufficiency builds dignity. The more we rely on ourselves, the stronger we become. Privacy protects peace. Maintaining our autonomy is crucial to preserving our sense of self. Generosity leaves a legacy. The quiet acts of kindness we perform ripple out far beyond our lifetimes. Gratitude enriches every day. When we focus on the beauty of the present, we open ourselves to joy in every moment. In the end, aging is not a loss, but a gift of wisdom, reflection, and the power to embrace life fully. And when we choose to do that, we find that the best is yet to come. As we wrap up today's reflection on aging, I hope that what we've discussed resonates with you. Aging is a journey, a chance to reconnect with what truly matters, to find wisdom in the small moments, and to live with purpose and peace. But now, I want to hear from you. What have you learned from today's video? Is there a particular lesson or insight that stands out to you, something you feel inspired to bring into your own life? I'd love for you to share one thing you'll carry forward, and how you plan to put it into practice, in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and found value in the conversation, please leave your comment, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support means so much, and by subscribing, you won't miss out on any of the future content we'll be creating for you. Thank you for watching, and remember, the best is yet to come. Until next time.